Welcome back. Frontier oil is what we're talking about now. We did mention at the beginning that you have to stay with us to be able to get an understanding of what this conversation is all about. Well, Frontier Oil Limited is an indigenous oil and gas production and development company with a proven track record of developing and bringing into production both crude oil and non-associated gas from the Uquo field. Well, let me introduce the MD and CEO of Frontier Oil, Engineer Solomon Dada Thomas. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, just before we came on air, I was asking you about the issue of the commissioning of your exit in Akwa Ibom State, Uquo gas processing facility. I understand the president was there to launch it or commission it.
Yes, he was.
What was it that made you to get the president to attend that particular event, and what is the significance of the exit facility that you have?
Okay, I think that the significance is that from our Uquo Marginal Field, within the next 12 months, we'll be producing sufficient gas to 2 power plants that will help to generate an additional 800 megawatts of power for Nigeria. Now, when you think that Nigeria is generating 4, if we're lucky, gigawatts of power, and we're going to generate another 800 megawatts.
So we're approaching 5 megawatts.
20% increase above what we have now.
This is over what period of time again?
In the next 12 months.
In the next 12 months.
We're already helping to generate 100 megawatts of power in Akwa Ibom State. When the Calabar power plant starts to take gas from our gas field, it will be able to produce another 560 megawatts of power. Okay? So by the time both Akwa Ibom, the Ibom power plant and the Calabar power plant are in operation, 800 megawatts of
So where are you getting
power.
your gas from? Is it from your own facility, or are you taking from some of the oil producing companies and taking their gas, process and then make available to the power grid?
The gas is from our own marginal field.
All right.
Okay, which we were awarded in 2003 as part of the first marginal field round by the federal government. We've painstakingly taken time to develop that project, and that was what the president came to commission on the 14th of August. And I think that he honoring our invitation was the recognition of our contribution towards the gas to power initiative by his government. And as I said, if we're going to help to generate an additional 20% power compared to what we have now, then that's a significant contribution by our company and our joint venture partners towards the economy of Nigeria and towards the politics.
Okay, so how smooth or rough was the journey to this project?
That's a good question. Extremely rough. And the reason is simple. The gas business is a very, very difficult and challenging business within the current ambit of Nigeria. What do I mean by that? I remember being thrown out of people's offices in 2007, 2008, saying, I have a gas field, can you finance, can you help to develop this project? Because remember, prior to 2010, nobody wanted to develop gas in Nigeria. As far back as time immemorial, when people discovered gas in Nigeria, what did they do with it? They just walk away from it because everybody's looking for black gold, oil. So gas was not wanted. But things have started to change. One, this major privatization of the power sector has meant that there's a better atmosphere for developing and selling gas. Two, we have a 160 gigawatt power deficit in Nigeria. What I mean by that is that normally, in any country, you're supposed to generate 1,000 megawatts of power for 1 million people. If you assume that Nigeria has 170 million people, which is what everybody says we have today, then we need to be generating 170 gigawatts. We're generating 4 gigawatts. We'd be lucky to generate 10 gigawatts in another 12 months' time. So we have a power deficit of 160 gigawatts. That is a lot of deficit. Okay? Now, if we were to be able to do that, we would actually need to be producing about 52 billion cubic feet of gas a day. That's a huge amount of gas.
But we do have the capacity, don't we?
No, we don't.
We don't have the capacity.
Not yet. And the reason is very simple.
Okay, would it be right to say we have the potential to do that? Potential different from the capacity.
Nigeria has always had potential for everything. And we have the 9th largest reserves in the world of gas. Okay? Yet we've done very little with it. And the reasons are very simple. To develop gas is a very challenging and very costly endeavor. The price for gas historically was extremely low. The largest off-taker for gas in the old days was the old NEPA system. They took gas from the few people who produced it and they never paid for that gas. Now, nobody wants to do a business in which you produce something, somebody takes it and he doesn't pay for it, let alone the fact that you're selling it for a very low price in the first place. So the potential for gas had been limited by the fact that the price was not very attractive, the off-taker was not a good customer. But things have started to change, and that's the good thing, I think.
Yeah.
In 2010, the Honorable Minister of Petroleum changed the gas pricing drastically, sufficiently to encourage people like us to carry on with a decision we had made slightly prior to that change to develop a gas field. Okay? And again, just this year, she's made another change which has increased gas price from what was $1.50 per 1,000 standard cubic feet, that's the way we measure and sell gas,
yes,
to $2.50 per 1,000 standard cubic feet, plus an 80 cents per 1,000 standard cubic feet for transmitting the gas from the producer to the generating company or to the consumer. So that has made the pricing for gas more attractive, but we're not in Uhuru land yet. That price is still below world market price, but it is a better price and more attractive.
What's the level of difference, or what's the differential between the two?
If you go to the USA, which is a huge gas market, where they sell gas at what they call the Henry Hub price, that's about $4, $5. Okay? If you go to Korea, they'll buy gas off you for $12. Okay, so you can see it depends where you go. But let's take the US one, which is relatively okay.
So we're talking of about $1.
$1 to $2.
$1 to $2.
$2. I think we need to be in the $4 to $5 range for 1,000 standard cubic feet to really make gas investments attractive.
Wow.
Okay, you mentioned something that was quite interesting. In terms of the transmission, do you have the facility, or you're using the transcos to transmit from where your Eket facility is to wherever the power plants are?
In our case, the good thing is that we're